So, my name is Mandulo, and these spirit guided messages have deeper conversations and sacred conversations on my podcast on YouTube. So, if you follow on my YouTube channel, you'll get deeper messages around these topics that I'm just sharing with messages. Okay, so let us continue. We have two very important messages today. First one is you are not insecure, you are confused. Second one is I'm talking to parents and people who want to become parents. Heal. So let's dive into the first one. You are not insecure. You are simply confused. Right now, if you want to as well, is when you ready, tap into the balanced divine feminine and the imbalanced divine feminine versus the balanced and imbalanced divine masculine. Okay. The imbalances is the darkness and the light that haven't become friends. Okay. So when you haven't become friends with yourself and learned to like the things that you point at other people that you don't like, or they're doing this and they're doing bad, remember, each time you point here, three fingers come back at you. So everything is simply a projection, and everything that you receive is a mirror projected back, or mirror reflection. So projection, reflection. Okay. So if you ever want to, there's this documentary. Oh man, why would I forget this now? It's on Netflix, and it was about like the meat industry. Something vegan. Okay, now I forgot. But basically, there was a section where they underlined with the governmental like documents that they have. And on one of them, when, documentaries, they take one thing and then they zoom it in your face. So it like zoomed into my face at that point in time. And they said the way in which the matrix succeeds is through confusion. So it basically said confuse them. Have you noticed 1 week, coconut oil is the best thing. Next week, don't use coconut oil. It's so bad for you. Next week, almond nuts, guys. It's the best thing. Use almond nuts. Have 5 a day, 10, whatever is the number. Next week, don't use almonds. They have been what. So the whole industry of the matrix is to confuse you. But what was caused by the matrix was God. So that's a conversation some of you might not be ready to hear. That the very devil you say is the devil might not be ready. What's that song that goes? They're not like us. They're not like us. Are you ready? If you like us, then you're ready. You're ready to hear these very uncomfortable conversations, because it's going to break down your world in such a way that it's like, what is this life? Okay. So the matrix needed to be formed in the 3D world so that contrast, because it always needs to exist, you need to be able to contract and expand. And yesterday I said, God is discovery. God is a discovery. So you're discovering, and each time divine feminine energy. And why there's like also an imbalance with relationships that we experience is because, yes, we've taken like men as divine masculine, but that's not only a representation, right? We have divine masculine and divine feminine, all of us. And that's the unseen and the unseen. That's all it is. So it's the unseen world, the ideation phase and space, into the materialized world, what you're seeing and what you're hearing, right? Like this thing that I'm talking to you about, something in you is remembering. This is all these conversations are. It's just about helping you remember and go, okay, be a little bit curious. What is she talking about? Okay. Then, what was I going to say? Okay, so I'm not going to dive too deep into that, but the matrix was a 3D form, and there's obviously very different, in different realms, different types of matrices. Okay. So, but in the 3D, if you're just looking physical Earth and what you can see right now, is it was designed so that the only way in which you know who you are is by who you are not. That's one. And then two, divine feminine energy always wants more. It's just sometimes we've been designated as women or the womb man to have divine feminine energy, but it can be in a man and a woman. Okay, let me say that divine feminine energy is abundance as well as divine masculine, but for a play of opposites for this particular part, we'll just say that the masculine is a limitation, because also once something has physically materialized, it's also a limited form of what the idea was. Goes back to what I said yesterday, the description is not the described. Okay, so the reason why I say that you aren't secure, you are confused, is because your head and your heart are having completely two different conversations. Your heart, where it is the seat of the soul, God is constantly communicating to you to cleanse and purify your heart. Then it comes into a thought, because you must remember, the moment you are thinking, it means there's a delayed reaction already. You don't manifest anything. Things already manifest. You limit things. You get what I mean? On another realm, but that's a different topic for another day. So your head and your heart are having completely two different conversations. Your heart, seat of the soul, residence of God from center outwards, is saying there's more, there's more, there's more. The 3D reality, because it can only come up into so much form, that it's a form of limitation. Because have you heard that, or have you felt, when you want something, even just by wanting it and not needing in physical manifestation, it feels so good? There'd be times where, because of my journey and how things have changed so much, I would just be like, the fact that I even wanted to do that, that's a big deal. Just the thought counts. In this case, I really get when people say it's the thought that counts, because it really does sometimes. So, your head and your heart are having completely two different conversations. Your heart is like, let's love, but you got to feel the discomfort of why you haven't loved and what you believed in your 3D reality. And then your head is like, no, we're not doing that. That's too uncomfortable. Run, because I'm not safe here. And that's because of the conditioning, the preconditioning of your mind. Okay. All you ever need were your boy bottoms when you came here. That's all you ever need. You don't need beads. You don't need like this certain jewelry. You don't need this car, because you're going to go back with your bare bottoms. You're not going to go with the beads. You're not going to go with the car or this jewelry. So, do you catch what I'm dropping? All you need is what you have. You aren't insecure. You are confused. I'm definitely going to do a sacred conversation with this one. To my parents now. To my parents, current, and to my wannabe parents. Okay? Or you're currently expecting my going to be parents. So this applies to everybody. We have this case of being neurotypical and neurodivergent. And even the typical is not even typical. Okay. But it's just a term as a classified, socialized term to go, this is the way in which the world thinks. Because we've been conditioned to believe this is how the world thinks. That you go from grade 1, grade 2, then from Primary, you go into high school, you go into varsity, you go you study, then you meet someone, you work, you marry, you have kids, and then you retire at like 60 something, and then you can live life. Okay, so that's a certain system which works for some people, so we're not depreciating it, because at the same time, everybody must play their part. So neurodivergent, from the socialized norm, you kind of you do this, you do things that aren't that. This is neurotypical, and this comes into all forms of disabilities. Now, when I say disability, I need some people to understand that just because you have 10 fingers and 10 toes, it doesn't mean that you are not disabled. Emotionally, you are disabled if you can't have empathy, if you can't have compassion and kindness. It's a disability. We need to be honest about that. Emotionally. Then I went into physically. Yes, there are disabilities according to the spine, the audio visual, the limbs, the bones. You get a whole lot of those things that are going on inside of the body that physically come up as a disability. Yet the thing is, even people who are classified physically with 10 toes or 10 feet, that they can't even do half the stuff someone who doesn't have 10 toes and 10 feet can. So that is also a disability on the 10 toes and 10 feet. We all neurodivergent and we all neurotypical in a certain way, because so like I said, neurotypical here, neurodivergent, right? Then you go neurotypical. This is also neurotypical. This is also neurotypical. This is also neurotypical. Do you know what I mean? Do you get what I'm dropping here? Everybody has a neurodivergent according to the pattern and suggestibility that you have acclimatized. So you either have a certain wiring when you grow up, and according to your environment, and then you rewire your brain, you reparent yourself. Then there's new. So there's always going to be neurodivergent and neurotypical. It depends on the lens and the levels and the scales and the realms and the chakras and the D's. There's so much wisdom that exists. So yeah, a parent wannabe, a parent gonna be, and a parent. No matter what age you are, what I am going to need you to do for us to heal society as a whole is to heal individually. Okay? This thing of like better half, I spoke about this yesterday, this thing of needing a better half, of needing someone to fill the gap and the void. It is one of the most dangerous things when you don't understand the power of God within you and you look at a God above or outside of you. It is one of the most dangerous things that we, in the matrix, in the 3D reality, that if you believe the darkness of it, it is one of the most dangerous things. This is why we have wars, because everybody's trying to fight a truth that they don't even know what their own truth is, but they're fighting for a cause that's not even their own. It's very dangerous. So, heal before you have a child. Heal whilst you have a child. Kids, what's the saying that says, parents think that they have come to raise a child. No, there's a saying There's a proper saying for this. I know this. Does somebody know? Okay. So parents think that they have come to raise their child, but it's actually the child who's come to raise their parent, because they are here to show you a new world. The purpose of like kids and creation is about rewiring. The purpose is about renewal and restoration to the land. And the land could be physically, but the land is here, your physical body, because your physical body is a portal into your spirit world. So heal, love yourself, learn to like the parts of you that the confusion has made you insecure about. Okay? Because your head and heart are always going to have a different conversation if you are not listening to the heart. And when you listen to the heart, you hear there's sound, there's breath, there's life, there's source, there's energy. If this doesn't pump anymore, you don't exist physically. Okay? So start honoring this organ and what comes from this organ, your breath, life, the distribution of life, the cleansing and the purifying that is constantly being communicated through the wisdom of the body. So heal, rewire your nervous system from chaos or survival into safety. Then rewire your brain from fear into love. That dark, that unseen is just a version of you. It goes back, and it seems to be like this thread that I'm talking about of late, but this Cherokee, and each time I say it, I'm like, Cherokee, tail. Is it a tail? Cherokee saying something Cherokee. I've forgotten. Okay, so we have the Cherokee, and one of the wisdom messages here was the grandfather and the grandchild talking about, I think, a dream about the wolf and the power of the wolves. And he was saying that the wolves were in like a battle, if I'm correct. You can correct me if I'm wrong. And then basically he asks his grandfather, which is the one that wins? And the grandfather goes, the one that you feed. Bad and good. But it's all here. Because, of course, your body is neutralized. There's head and heart coherency. So there's going to be a left wing. No. Left wing. I think I was trying to mirror you. Left wing and a right wing. Okay? We have this. But like, why now must my limb fight my right limb? Do you get what I mean? Do you understand what I'm like dropping? That's what the matrix will do to you, is make this limb fight this limb when these limbs are working together for these to be more coherent, so that as you walk in life, you are walking in your truth. I think I'm done with that message. Yeah, I'm done with the message. So if you would like a personal reading and you have made it this far, please one-on-ones online and book a consultation. My email will be down below. can.we.talk.mandisa @gmail.com.